Batteries fully charged. Launch ready for WWE Aftershock in 3, 2, 1. World Wrestling Entertainment Discussion is live. Cue host Owen Finch.
Welcome everyone to week 38 of WWE Aftershock. I'm Owen the Birdman Finch, and I'm flying solo this week just because everybody was too busy to do the show this week. And yeah, I'm pretty much just flying solo just for that reason alone. And we're just going to jump right into it because it was a big week for WWE show-wise and news-wise, and not particularly for the greatest reasons news-wise, but we still got to talk about it, so we're just going to get right into it. I'm going to review the shows first, just because that's why we're all here. I don't know how long this show is going to be, just because, we have a lot to talk about this week, so I'm just going to get right into it. I'm going to start with main event, even though it doesn't air first, but I'm going to follow house rules, and this is taped before any other shows this week, and it's taped the same day as Raw, so I'm just going to do main event first. So, main event, took place on September 20th, 2023. We had Byron Saxton and Wade Barrett on commentary for this show. We had two matches on main event. The first one was Indy Hartwell versus Nikki Cross. Decent little match right here. Eventually, Nikki Cross won. She ended up winning with the crossbody. It seems like that's going to be a new finisher now. She's been winning a lot of matches lately with that move, so yeah, she won with that. Pretty basic match here. Nobody was really into it, but it is what it is. I wish Indy Hartwell was doing a lot more. It just sucks that they took her off NXT, and they haven't done anything with her lately, so it really sucks. And then we had the main event of the show. It was Tegan Nox versus Xia Li. Tegan Nox was a face for this match, which that is what it is. She changes so much now. Sometimes she's a face, sometimes she's a heel. And originally she was supposed to accept Becky Lynch's open challenge for the NXT Women's title, but it was changed at the last minute, so I guess this was kind of a way to make it up to her. Really boring match here. Like, it lasted a long time, and it was really boring. Eventually, Tegan Nox does win with the shiniest wizard, but it was a pretty damn boring match. I was kind of falling asleep during this match, to be honest. And I wasn't even tired when I started or anything like that either. So that was main event. Pretty boring show. I'm going to give main event like a D. I thought it was really boring. Both matches really didn't excite me all that much. I know main event's not really meant to be like a big show, but if I'm going out of my way to watch it, I at least want to get some enjoyment out of it, and this didn't and it was not the case this time around. This might have been the worst episode, honestly, of main event since Triple H took over and everything like that. So pretty boring episode. This might be the last main event review you get, and I'll get into the reason why that is at the end of the video when I talk about the new stuff. So yeah, we'll just continue talking. Moving on to Raw for this week. So I have to look up the date for Raw because I have the wrong date in my notes because it was not September 11th because that was last week's Raw. I think it would have been September 16th. No, September 18th. That makes more sense. I can't do math, apparently. So Raw took place on September 18th, 2023. We had Wade Barrett and Michael Cole on commentary for this show. It kicks off with Cody Rhodes coming out, and he's about to cut a promo. He was about to talk about Jey Uso being a part of Raw, but he gets interrupted again by Dominic Mysterio, and it was kind of a rinse and repeat segment from what they had last week, where he just kind of talks about how he's going to, how Jey Uso is going to join Judgment Day. He got booed pretty heavily here, obviously, as he does. Not as loud as other shows he's been on, but still pretty loud. He talks about how Rhea Ripley isn't there just because of the attack from Nia Jax, the previous episode, which isn't true. Apparently, her and her fiance were at a football game in Australia or in the UK or whatever. So that's what to do some promotions for Raw and stuff. So that's why they weren't there. And I think there was obviously other reasons they weren't there, but or at least Rhea Ripley, anyways. And Cody repeats basically everything that Dom says, and he actually takes a cheap shot at him, talking about how Rhea Ripley doesn't really have a definition for their relationship status, and he talks about how, once Jay joins the Judgment Day, she may be in a relationship with Jey Uso instead of him. This leads to a match. During the match, Finn Balor and Damian Priest come out to kind of stand ringside with Dominic Mysterio. And in the match, Dragon Lee's in the crowd watching, and we find out during this match that next week, which is tomorrow/tonight, because I'm recording this Sunday, but it's airing Monday, /premiering, Dragon Lee's going to challenge Dominic Mysterio for the NXT North American Championship on Raw, which is going to be... It's pretty exciting. It was really out of nowhere and random, obviously, because they've been doing the storyline where Dominic Mysterio didn't want to face him. So I thought they kind of, rushed to get that match announced. I thought they could have had Dragon Lee confront Adam Pearce about it backstage or something instead of it was just announced. But it would be cool for him to wrestle on Raw. I think it's going to be like one of the biggest, I mean, not crowd-wise anyways, but the biggest audience he's going to have wrestled in front of, so that's pretty cool. They announced that match was going to happen, and Cody really squashes Dom here. This is basically a repeat of the matches they've been doing the dark matches on SmackDown after the show goes off the air. There was a botch in the match where Dom went for a suplex, and I think Cody was meant to land on his feet, but he doesn't quite stick the landing, so they just redid the spot. And Cody eventually does win with the Crossroads, and Judgment Day is about to get into the ring and beat down Cody. And Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn run out and make the save, pretty much. They send Judgment Day packing. But that's not the end of the segment. Kevin Owens, wants to have a conversation with Cody, and it kind of goes to break from that. And then, after it comes back from commercial break, Kevin Owens wants to know why Cody had Jay sent over to Raw with everything that he's done with the Bloodline and how often he's cost, Cody, Sammy, and KO the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship. And Cody Rhodes says that he did this because he, as well as anybody else, knows that everybody deserves a second chance in life. And Cody feels like that Jay's earned a second chance, and said that, it took a lot for him to have to come out of Roman Reigns' shadow. Sami Zayn's basically trying to convince Kevin Owens to, believe in Jey Uso and trust him. And Kevin Owens says that he still doesn't believe, or he still doesn't trust Jey Uso, but he trusts Cody and Sami enough to give him a chance. So, yeah, that was basically the segment there. It leads to a backstage segment later on where Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are discussing what to do about Jey Uso, and Jey Uso comes up and confronts them and basically tells Kevin Owens that if he has a problem with them, just to confront him about it face-to-face. And they kind of have a shouting match. Sami Zayn has to play Peacekeeper, and basically Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens leave. They kind of go off to cool off, type of thing. Because Kevin Owens thinks that Jey Uso has to join Judgment Day, because they did a segment earlier, because I forgot the segment had happened first, where Damian Priest basically went into battle, where he comes and reveals to Jey Uso where he went into battle for Jey Uso to be a part of Judgment Day, because Finn, Dom, and Rhea all wanted Jimmy to join Judgment Day, but he said that he went into battle for Jey Uso, and he basically doesn't want he doesn't want Jay to make him look like a fool. So he basically says that he has to come to a decision at the end of the show. So that's kind of why all of this has been happening. And I think Drew does do an interview where he basically talks about how he wants to destroy Jey Uso tonight because of everything that Jey Uso and the Bloodline did to him, prevented him from winning the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship. And yeah, we basically had the main event. It was Drew McIntyre versus Jey Uso. Very back and forth main event here. You're seeing the early signs of Drew McIntyre as a heel, which I like. And Judgment Day come out to watch, and they do some things where they interfere in Jay's behalf, and he nearly wins the match via super kick, which I liked. And, it made people question what Jay's motives are and everything like that. And he sets up like he's going to go for a spear out of the corner, and Damian Priest is egging him on and everything like that. And then eventually Jay hits a super kick on Damian Priest, and also the rest of the members of Judgment Day, Cody and Dominic Mysterio. And this allows Drew McIntyre to hit the Claymore kick on him and beat Jey Uso. And afterwards, Judgment Day beat down Jey Uso, and Drew McIntyre's not really sure what he wants to do, if he wants to run in to make the save. It looks like he's going to, but he continues to walk further and further up to the ramp. And right before he makes his decision, Cody Rhodes runs out, and he basically helps Jey Uso fight off Judgment Day. And basically they're setting it up like the only friends that Jey Uso, or maybe not friends, but the only people that trust Jey Uso, Cody and Sammy. So yeah, I liked this, and I like what they did with Drew here, because this continues his heel turn, because obviously he basically a cheap victory, because the only reason he even wins is because of the Judgment Day's distraction, and he basically took advantage of the Judgment Day's distraction to get the victory, and he didn't go in and save Jey Uso, which ties into his heel turn and everything like that. And I did like right before Drew could make his decision, Cody ran out. It was kind of like right as it happened type of thing, so I liked this a lot. So everything they did with Jey Uso on this show has been very enjoyable, and I like what they're doing with Drew McIntyre and everything like that. So all of that's getting a thumbs up from me. So it was a very good story. Then we had Kofi Kingston versus Ivar. This was supposed to be a 2 out of 3 falls match between the New Day and the Viking Raiders, but Eric wasn't cleared to wrestle, so they had to change plans, and they instead did a one-on-one match. They did a segment backstage on WWE.com exclusives where they played Kofi and Xavier Woods, played rock, paper, scissors for it, and Kofi won, so he got the one-on-one match with Ivar. And this match was great. I really liked this match. And I'm really liking the Viking Raiders. They're just going out recently and just having bangers on Raw type of thing. I wish they could get into a more cohesive storyline, obviously, but I like the fact that they're getting a spot on the show at least every week. But eventually, Kofi does beat him with the Trouble in Paradise, but this match was great. I really suggest watching this match. But yeah, I think Kofi really needed a big victory here, obviously. I think New Day's taken a lot of big losses and been laying flat on their backs recently, so I think they needed a big victory here. And I don't really think it hurts the Viking Raiders too much to lose, so I was cool with all of this. I imagine in the 2 out of 3 falls match, New Day will win it, so we have to wait and see on that one. Then Ricochet gets interviewed, and he talks about how he's upset with Shinsuke Nakamura because he can't seem to get rid of him. He talks about how he was ready to move on to other things, but Shinsuke Nakamura is the one that keeps egging him on type of thing. And he said that tonight he's going to put an end to that and get himself in world title contention. So we have that match. Seth Rollins tries to run out, and he tries to attack Nakamura, but Nakamura keeps running away from him. And he's not really running away. Nakamura's not really running away from Seth because he's scared of him. He's doing this to kind of play mind games with Seth Rollins. And eventually Seth has to be restrained to the back. Nakamura and Ricochet proceed to have a really great match here. I really enjoyed it. I Eventually, Nakamura gets himself DQ'd. He doesn't get himself DQ'd. That was a few weeks ago. He's about to get himself DQ'd, but then Ricochet takes the chair from him, and he uses the chair on Nakamura, and he gets himself disqualified. And obviously, there's an element that Nakamura manipulated him into doing this because he got him so wild up and wanted to hurt him. And then Ricochet's arguing with the referee, saying that it shouldn't have been a DQ, and Nakamura takes him out by the leg, and he basically grabs a steel chair and just hits Ricochet in the leg with it while it's wrapped against the post, and he just destroys Ricochet's leg. So, and Seth tries to run out to make the save, but Nakamura takes him out. He sends him back first into the barricade, and he just destroys his back. They did a good bit here where Seth went for the pedigree, and Nakamura countered it into a back suplex, and he went into the chair. So, again, they're still playing the history of Seth Rollins' back, and Seth has to be helped by medical personnel and everything like that, and he does this promo later on where he's just losing his mind. He's going absolutely crazy, and Seth basically challenges Nakamura to a face-to-face next week where he can pick the time and the place he wants his world title match, and he can pick the stipulation. So that's going to be a thing tonight. Overall, I really liked everything they did with the World Heavyweight title feud. I would have liked, obviously, Nakamura and Ricochet to go to a clean finish. I get what they were going for here, but they did this finish basically a few weeks ago. I kind of wish Nakamura could have just beaten him clean type of thing, but it was not to be. So, yeah, that was it. Then Chelsea Green and Piper Niven get interviewed backstage, and Chelsea Green talks about how, because they're supposed to face Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark in a match, and Chelsea Green talks about how they're not a real tag team and everything like that, and Byron Saxton pretty much points out the fact that Chelsea Green's being a hypocrite because Chelsea Green and Piper Niven also aren't really a tag team, and she tries to prove him wrong, but Byron Saxton asks where Piper Niven asks where she's from, and Chelsea Green can't really come up with where she's from. She's obviously from Scotland, but she can't come up with what country she's from. She says Florida at one point, which was funny, like she thinks Florida's a country, and then Byron Saxton actually says it, and Chelsea Green says, I was going to get there anyways, and she keeps calling Byron Saxton Brian, which was funny, and she kind of chases off after Chelsea Green. So, yeah, I'm liking the comedy bit with Chelsea Green here. And we do get that tag match, and it's looking like Piper Niven and Chelsea Green have the advantage, but then eventually Nia Jax runs out and just lays out everybody. I really didn't care for this. I didn't mind, obviously, the match. I thought the match was whatever, but I really didn't care for the Nia Jax bit. As you know, I don't really care for Nia Jax being back, so yeah, I could have done without this. Yeah, the women's tag belt just really suck right now, so there you go. Then Adam Pearce is backstage, and Chad Gable comes up to him, and he wants another match with Walter for the Intercontinental Championship, and Chad Gable says that, Adam Pearce pretty much says that he has to earn his way back there since he has failed to win the title on multiple occasions. And Bronson Reed comes up and basically is talking down to Chad Gable, talking about how he can't even suplex him and all that type of stuff, and how he deserves to be a breakout star. So it leads to a match between both of them. We get that match, and the match was really good. I really liked Gable versus Bronson Reed. The whole gimmick of the match was that Gable couldn't hit a German suplex onto him, and eventually Bronson Reed tries to do a senton onto him, and Gable gets the knees up, but this ends up being his undoing just because of the size of Bronson Reed, and he nearly wins with an ankle lock, but he's unable to keep the hold in because of his leg, and Bronson Reed lays him out with a clothesline and follows this up with a tsunami, and Bronson Reed beats Chad Gable. I think a lot of people are worried about this, obviously, just because, obviously, this is not good momentum for Gable right now, but I don't have an issue with this. This humbles Gable a little bit, and this keeps him in an underdog type of role. Because I definitely think he is going to be the guy that dethrones Walter for the Intercontinental Championship, but I think you need to give him obstacles to overcome along the way. And I do think that this is just a 1 week thing. I don't really think anything's going to come of this type of thing. So we'll see what happens here. But overall, I really liked what they did here. Then Tommaso Ciampa's backstage, and he talks about how he's pretty much going to go through every member of Imperium to get to Walter and his Intercontinental title, and said that he's going to make his own opportunities. Later in the night, he defeats Fabian Aichner. Walter was watching the match backstage, and Marcel Bartel wasn't happy with Aichner that he lost the match, and now it's going to be Ciampa versus Bartel next week. So, yeah, I liked everything they did with Ciampa. I think he's going to be the guy that faces Walter next for the belt, obviously. I don't know if they'll just be on an episode of Raw like Fastlane, but only time will tell. But I liked what they did here. I think I thought it made a lot of sense. So, yeah, we'll see what comes of it. And then Becky Lynch had her NXT Women's Championship Open Challenge, and who comes out and accepts none other than Natalya. And I really liked this here. I liked the fact that it was Natty. I thought that made a lot of sense. You know, Natty was kind of that gateway originally towards main roster to NXT. She was kind of like one of the original challengers for the title and everything like that when the title was first introduced within that first year and everything like that. And, you know, I thought, and they both come out to cut a promo. They both talk about really good points. How Becky Lynch wanted to create new opportunities for people that never got opportunities, and Natty's not quite what she was thinking of. And Natalya says that she's the opposite because her being champion prevents other people in NXT from being NXT Women's Champion. So I really liked this. They had a very good match. I thought Becky does win with a manhandle slam. Natty looked pretty annoyed. I hope it doesn't lead to another Natty heel turn. I wouldn't mind it, obviously, but I just don't really think it's necessary. I think Natty can just stay a babyface. But yeah, I liked everything that they did here, obviously. And overall, it was very enjoyable. So I liked that there was two babyfaces going at it where they both had really good points and everything like that. So overall, I liked what they did here with Becky and Natalya. Then Adam Pearce and Dragon Lee were backstage. This was more hype for the NXT North American Championship match for next week. And then, yeah, everything else just kind of Raw pretty much is what happened. So I've kind of covered the rest of the show. That was pretty much Raw. I thought Raw was a good show. I thought I'll give it like a B-. I thought I wasn't as into it as other Raws. I still thought it was good enough, but not as great as other Raws, but I'm going to still give it a B-. I thought it was a good enough show. It wasn't boring or anything like that. I liked how they furthered all the storylines and everything like that. So overall, I'm going to give Raw a B-. I thought it was good. I thought it was a good show. They did announce some stuff for next week's Raw. We're going to have Otis versus Bronson Reed. I imagine Bronson Reed will win that match, but I think that's going to be a really good house fight. I believe we're supposed to have Marcel Bartel versus Tommaso Ciampa, and if that's the case, I think Ciampa will win that match. We're going to have the undisputed WWE Tag Team title match. It's going to be Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus the Judgment Day. I imagine the Judgment Day will retain. I think they'll win, but it's going to somehow set up a 6-man tag between a lot of people. I think it's going to be, Kevin, Sami, and Jay, or Kevin, Sami, and Cody versus Judgment Day. But if I had to make a guess, I would do this match. I would do Cody, Jay, and Sami versus the Judgment Day, since they're the only ones that really trust Jay and everything like that. I think that'd make a lot of sense, but we have to wait and see on that one. And then I think we're supposed to have a women's match next week, but I don't remember what the match is supposed to... Oh, the North American title match. We're supposed to have Dragon Lee versus Dominic Mysterio. I'll get to my predictions on that at the end, because a lot of stuff's happened that's kind of affected the North American title picture. So I want to get to that at the end. Obviously, there's some backstage reports that came out on Raw. There were some changes made to the show. Like I said, Tegan Knox was meant to face Becky Lynch instead, but they replaced her with Natalya. I didn't really mind that change too much. I thought Natty was a better choice, to be honest. And then obviously the 2 out of 3 falls match, that wasn't really anybody's call. That was just an injury happened. And then they moved the Shinsuke Nakamura Ricochet match to the 1 hour main event because they wanted to get some star power in there. So that way people wouldn't turn over to NFL and everything like that, which I thought, that made a lot of sense. So, yeah. Overall, good Raw right there. I'll give that like a B minus. So, continuing with the week breakdown of WWE, we're gonna do NXT now. That took place on November 19th, 2023. We had Booker T and Vic Joseph on commentary for that. Becky Lynch cut a promo, and she came out. It was very cringy. She was back to 2016, 2018. Becky Lynch, straight fire, last kicker, that type of stuff. She cut a promo on everybody, in NXT, and she basically threw out the challenge that if Tiffany Stratton wants a rematch, she's more welcome to have it. She can just name the time and place. And Tiffany Stratton came out and teases like she's gonna have the match tonight, but she just did that to troll the fans. And she says that she's gonna have a rematch at No Mercy. Kiana James attacked Becky from behind, and Becky was able to fight them both off eventually. And then she challenges both of them to a handicap match. Later in the night, Roxanne Perez comes up and tries to be a tag partner, but Becky Lynch declines it because Roxanne Perez earlier in the night had a match with Lola Vice that she won, but she got her arm screwed up really badly in that match, so she said that she should focus on that. And Tiffany Stratton and Kiana James had a conversation backstage, and they basically reveal that, they have a plan. They attack Becky Lynch when she's making her entrance and everything like that. And then Lyra Valkyria makes the save, and it turns into a tag match. And Becky and Lyra Valkyria win the tag match. The tag match was serviceable enough. Wasn't anything too bad. And then afterwards, Tiffany Stratton lays out both of them with a chair. And Becky challenges Tiffany Stratton to an Extreme Rules match at No Mercy. So that's going to be that's your one stipulation match at No Mercy. Overall, as for everything they did with the NXT Women's title picture, I thought it was very hit or miss. Some of it was good, some of it was bad, and some of it was just flat out cringy. The problem with Becky was cringy. I didn't really like the fact they did the handicap match, and then the tag match itself was good, and then the Tiffany Stratton post-match stuff was pretty bad. So it's probably like a thumbs in the middle, or slightly maybe ported down, but not quite fully down type of thing. So yeah, that's kind of everything with the NXT Women's title picture. The family have a segment, and basically they announced that all these tag teams are going to have a seat at the table, and they're going to decide their number one contenders for the NXT tag team titles. The teams are going to be Diamond Mine, Angel Garza, and Humberto Carrillo, and there's one other team I think that was meant to be there, but I don't remember who it was. And later in the night, they do some promos with Scripps, Bronco Lima, and Lucian Price, where basically they call out Hanky Tanky, and then Hanky Tanky call them out. So we get a tag match for next week, where the winner is going to get basically a seat at the table. I imagine we're getting some type of 4-way tag at No Mercy with those teams. So that is what it is. I thought the tag title stuff was pretty much a miss. I feel like they haven't really done a lot with the family as tag team champions, and I feel like we just could have just done it was basically a big schmoz and everything like that. So I could have done without this. Yeah, what else was here? Metaphor get interviewed, and they do a really funny action movie, um, you know, parody, talking about the potential opponents in the NXT UK Heritage Cup, talking about the Global Invitational and everything like that. And then we had a couple of Global Heritage Cup Invitational matches. We had Pete Dunne versus Tyler Bate in the final match in group. What would have been? I meant it would have been group. I don't even have the group down, but whatever group that would have been. And they had a great match. It was very back and forth. They did basically the greatest hits of the previous matches, but I thought what was cool about it is Pete Dunne did a lot of Tyler Bates' big moves that he would do, and Tyler Bate did the same thing. And eventually Pete Dunne wins. He wins with basically a new finisher. It's like a gut wedge suplex type move. And Pete Dunne wins his block pretty much, which I was happy that Pete Dunne won. It really could have gone either way, but I'm happy it was Pete Dunne. And they did a bit where like he won basically at like the last 3 seconds of the match type of thing, which was awesome. So I liked that. And then they had Duke Hudson versus Joe Coffey. And Joe Coffey was pretty much dominating the match, and Duke Hudson rolls him up and gets the win. And Duke Hudson wins the match, and then afterwards, Nathan Fraser gets interviewed, and it gets revealed that the triple threat match is going to happen tonight because Duke Hudson was pretty much the spoiler. He caused everybody to tie, and except for Tozawa, because he wasn't gonna go very high. He didn't get any points, but he basically caused everyone in their blocks to have a 3-way tie. So we had the triple threat match on this show. I liked the triple threat match. I thought it was great stuff. Eventually, Joe Coffey wins, and now at next week, it's going to be Pete Dunne versus Joe Coffey. They had like a stare down afterwards and everything like that. I really didn't like what they did with the Duke Hudson stuff of the tournament. If you were just going to have Joe Coffey win his block anyways, why not just have him beat Duke Hudson? I thought that was kind of a waste, and I didn't really think anyone got any more over out of it. It was just really weird. So the match itself was good, but I could have done without that. But yeah, I'm excited for Pete Dunne versus Joe Coffey. We haven't seen them really mix it up, I think, since NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool 2, and that was like 4 years ago. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do together again, because they haven't faced off in a while, and they both have evolved as wrestlers and everything like that. Thea Hale had a makeover. Basically, it was a terrible comedy sitcom sketch where she tried on all these outfits, and JC Jane just kept having her try on new outfits. And next week, we're going to have the reveal of Thea Hale's new makeover. So, yeah, everyone knows how I feel about this. I'm not a fan of what they're doing with Thea Hale right now. So, there you go. We had an update on Von Wagner where basically Mr. Stone just basically revealed that he's still injured and everything like that. So that's what it was. Roxanne Perez, again, I want to talk some more about her match with Lola Vice. I know I kind of glossed over it, but I thought the match actually was better than you would think it is. I think Lola Vice has some real potential here. She had a good bulk of the offense. She was doing a lot of stuff. You probably would have seen her doing MMA and stuff to Roxanne Perez, and Roxanne Perez basically just got a lucky roll-up and beat her. So I hope they make a feud out of this. I feel like they didn't really have Lola Vice do a lot of selling in this match because she's probably not used to selling, really. So, I think Lola Vice has some potential. I think she needs to get away from Electra Lopez, and I think that would help everybody out. So, I think Lola Vice has a lot of potential. Eddie Thorpe has a video package. Eddie challenges Dijak to a strap match, and that match gets made official on the next episode of NXT, which I don't mind the match happening, obviously. I just would have preferred the match to be at No Mercy. I thought they put a lot of hype behind that match. I think it would have made more sense for it to happen at No Mercy, but they're doing it next week. Whatever. I would have liked it at No Mercy. And then we had the champion versus champion. NXT North American Champion Dominic Mysterio versus NXT Champion Carmelo Hayes. They had a very good back-and-forth match. Ilya Dragunov was on commentary for the match. And, eventually, Dominic Mysterio throws Carmelo Hayes into. No, what happens is Carmelo Hayes is about to be thrown into Dragunov, but then he ends up reversing and throwing Dominic Mysterio into the Dragunov, but he doesn't realize that that was going to happen to him. He completely misses it. So the match continues. Eventually, Dragunov beats down Dominic Mysterio, so he wins by disqualification, and he's about to lay out Dom with the Torpedo Moscow, but Dominic Mysterio shoves Carmelo Hayes in the way, and he takes the Torpedo Moscow. And after this, Dominic Mysterio thinks he's gonna get escape, free and everything like that. But then eventually Dragon Lee comes out and lays him out with a super kick. And they did some promos later in the night. They did one earlier with Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes. Had like a segment backstage where Carmelo Hayes offered to be in his corner and everything like that, but Carmelo Hayes still wants to do things on his own. And they did one later in the night where basically he kind of promos saying, he challenges Ilya Dragunov to have a face-off with him next week, and basically that's what's going to happen. And then Mustafa Ali did an interview where he's upset about the fact that Dragon Lee gets a North American title match even though he beat him, and basically he implies the fact that he's going to be on Raw this week and basically cause trouble in the North American title picture, which now isn't going to happen, but we'll get into why that's the case later. Overall, I liked everything they did with the NXT title picture and the North American title picture. I thought it was all very good stuff. Trick Williams has another backstage segment, and Joe Gacy comes up to him and basically Ava and Joe Gacy try to recruit him to join Schism pretty much, and Trick Williams denies and wants to just be his own guy. And they try to make it question whether or not, Carmelo Hayes really has his best interests and everything like that. Really didn't care for this. I could have done without it. Then, yeah, I think that's everything. Then the one last thing that really of any significance that happened in NXT was they did a backstage segment with Brooks, Briggs, and Fallon Henley, and they were watching the match from last week, and they still don't know why Miles Bourne did what he did. And Baron Corbin came up to him and said that the rookies are too focused on what's going on instead of focusing on their careers. And Josh Briggs basically throws shade saying that Corbin's the one that's gone soft since he's the one that's getting a massage. And yeah, it's going to lead to a match between both of them. So that's basically that. Overall, NXT was good. I'll give it like a B-. I thought the matches and stuff were good enough on it and everything like that. And I thought they progressed to No Mercy, but it felt like a lot of stuff could have been better. Like I didn't really like that they had Duke Hudson win his match just to have Joe Coffey win his block anyways. I didn't like, obviously, what they kind of did in the main event angle. I don't really like what's going on with Thea Hale right now. NXT has potential to, I think, be a really good show. It's just that Shawn Michaels really is screwing up when it comes to the booking and everything like that. So, yeah, overall, I thought NXT still was a relatively good enough show. And then going over Level Up, I'll just go over that real quick. That took place on September 22nd, 2023. We had Byron Saxton and Blake Howard on commentary for it. We had Ivy Nile versus Izzy Dame. This match was good. I thought it was very back and forth. Ivy Nile won with the Death Valley choke, or the Dragon Screw choke. I forget what the name of it is off the top of my head. But I thought Izzy Dame looked really strong in the match. I imagine she's going to be one of the competitors in the NXT Women's Breakout Tournament when it happens. So that'll be interesting. And Luca Crucifino gets interviewed, and he's going to face Ike Mangiero, and he talks about how it's a disgrace it is that he gets to wear his jackets. That's basically a foreign object. He faces Ike Mangiero. They had a relatively good match, and he basically uses the jacket to his advantage. He gets the jacket off of Ike Mangiero. He throws it in his face, and because he can't see, Ike Mangiero gets him into a roll-up using the trunks and beats Ike Mangiero. Then the main event was the last match in the Global Heritage Cup Invitational. It was Charlie Dempsey versus Axiom. It was a great match, very back and forth. Axiom wins with the Golden Ratio or the Golden Rewind, I forget what it's called. And he picks up 2 points, so now he has 3 points in the tournament overall. I didn't really understand why they did this match. There was really no point to it because none of them could even win the tournament by that point, but whatever. They should have done this match earlier, but it is what it is. Because nothing was really gained or anything like that. Like, why not just have Dempsey get a victory then if you're gonna do that? But whatever. Overall, that was Level Up. I'll give the Level Up a C+. It'd be a B- just for the main event alone, but the circumstances around me in the main event really didn't make much sense. So I'm gonna give it a C+. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll do some predictions for NXT before I move on to covering SmackDown. Let me find my the code for it because I have it saved because somebody. I'm getting this off Instagram. It's from Wrestling Island. You can follow them on Instagram. We're gonna have Trick Williams versus Joe Gacy. I imagine Trick Williams will win that. He'll continue to ascend the ranks in NXT because I think he needs a big win. I don't think he's had one yet since he had that tremendous performance against Dragunov. Then we're going to have Thea Hale versus Danny Palmer. Yeah, this is going to be a pretty obvious victory for Thea Hale. I really don't think Danny Palmer really stands a chance of winning. She's supposed to debut her new look, and yeah, I'm really not a fan of that. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. Then we're going to have Hanky Tanky versus Blanco Nima and Lucian Price. The winner of this gets to sit at the dinner table with the family, which I imagine that segment's going to happen next week. This really could go either way. They're not really doing anything with both of these tag teams. I'm just going to say Blanco Nima and Lucian Price win, but I would like Hanky Tanky to win. I personally enjoy them more as a team. We're going to have Baron Corbin versus Josh Briggs. Baron Corbin's obviously winning this match. I actually think he's going to probably squash him because he has to build momentum going up against Braun Breaker at No Mercy, so I imagine Baron Corbin will win this match. Then Carmelo Hayes and Ilya Dragunov are supposed to have a face-off. This actually might close the show. They're going to have a contract sign-in. I'm looking forward to it. I definitely think this is... it's going to lead to a pull apart. I don't really think anyone's going to stand tall out of this. I know Dragunov stood tall last week, but I definitely think it's going to be a pull apart more than anything else. And then we have the Global Heritage Cup Invitational, Joe Coffey versus Pete Dunne. I think Pete Dunne should win this. I think him challenging Noam Dar for the cup will be a more appealing option than Joe Coffey. So I think Pete Dunne will, win this. I think it'd be awesome. Then we have a strap match. It's going to be Eddie Thorpe versus Dijak. I think Eddie Thorpe will win this. Dijak's beaten him twice now. And I think, now that you've added the stipulation, this feels like the blow-off. I think Eddie Thorpe will win this. So I think that's going to be what happens. Then we have Gigi Dolan versus Blair Davenport. I don't see this feud stopping here, so I think Blair Davenport will win. Gigi Dolan really needs a victory. I don't think she's had a big win in a while. But I think they're going to give the win to Blair Davenport. And that's basically going to be this week's episode of NXT. It's a pretty loaded episode. It's a go-home week before No Mercy, but they're really throwing a lot at this show. I imagine this is going to be a limited commercial type of episode of NXT. So, yeah, overall, I looking forward to NXT next week. Let's cover SmackDown now. Let me find my notes for it. Well, no, let me cover the bump first. I forgot the bump. I forgot the bump's a thing. Yeah, relatively enjoyable episode of the bump. There was a 90-minute episode. It was longer than normal, so relatively enjoyable episode. It aired on September 20th, 2023. The hosts were Megan Morant, Matt Camp, and Ryan Popola. They did the intro. They basically broke down everything that happened last week in wrestling up until the bump happened. The interview, Carmelo Hayes, He talked about what it's been like carrying the flag for NXT. He talked about his time before NXT. He talked about winning the breakout tournament since that was going to happen soon. He talked about Trick Williams going out on his own, and he talked about how much he's looking forward to No Mercy and everything like that. So overall, I thought he had a relatively good interview there. And then Landon Balker got interviewed. This is a musician. I think he's fairly new. He has a new singles coming out. And Caleb Braxton had him talk about that in a little bit. He had him talk about why he liked wrestling so much and who he liked and everything like that. And they played Would You Rather, where he had to answer Would You Rather questions like, would you rather take a tombstone from The Undertaker, or would you rather, not have electronics for the rest, or I guess for like a week or something. It wasn't for the rest of your life. One of them was like, would you rather have a match with Brock Lesnar, or would you rather swim with sharks type of thing. So, yeah, they played games doing it. It was a relatively decent interview. Then Molly Holly got interviewed. She's running the marathon in New York, so they talked a lot about that for Pediatric Cancer Month. And then Bianca Belair did like a PSA for it, where she sat down with like a professor. I think he's like a part of this. He got like the charity started or something. And he just kind of talked about why he got it started and everything like that, and the risks of pancreatic cancer and everything like that. And then Santos Escobar got interviewed. He talked about how much he's looking forward to facing Rey Mysterio for the United States Championship. He talked about his heritage in Mexico, since it's, Latino Heritage Month or whatever they call it. And then Zelina Vega came on. She talked about being in Puerto Rico, which is like the 40th time I've heard about it. And then she talked about being like the first woman in LWO and everything like that. So, relatively good episode of The Bump. I'll give it like a solid B. I liked the interviews. I could have done without the Molly Holly and Bianca Belair PSA and all that type of stuff. It wasn't that I wasn't interested in it, but it was just, I don't really want to hear about that stuff. And I think it was the same. I didn't watch The Bump like live. I watched it after I'd heard about all of the recent news that happened. So I was kind of in a bad mood when I watched it. So yeah, that's basically my thoughts there. Let's cover SmackDown now. SmackDown started off with John Cena coming out, and he wanted to basically face the Bloodline. He wanted to have a match tonight, and he called out AJ Styles pretty much to team with him, and AJ Styles came up. He basically agreed to team with him, and he called out the Bloodline. The Bloodline came out, and basically they just walked off. They backed down. They didn't want to face Cena or Styles. And Cena and Styles went to Adam Pearce backstage, and Adam Pearce says that he has to talk to Paul Heyman about this because there's a lot of bullshit that pretty much that has to go around facing the Bloodline, and basically they got the contract for it. It's not going to happen on. Originally they wanted it on SmackDown, but it's not going to happen on SmackDown. It's going to happen at Fastlane, and Jimmy Uso is pretty much the one that agrees with it, pretty much, and Paul Heyman's not happy about this because it didn't come from the tribal chief and all that type of stuff. And we get that segment. John Cena comes out. He immediately signs the contract, wasted no time. Solo Sikoa, actually, too, before that, said that he was going to handle this tonight, so that way there was no match at Fastlane. And the reason I say that is because when AJ Styles does his entrance, he doesn't come out. And we see that he's being beaten down backstage by the Bloodline. They beat him up. Solo Sikoa standing on like this high level, and he pretty much does like a splash onto AJ. We don't actually see him hit the move. It's done off screen and all that type of stuff. And AJ Styles has to be loaded away in an ambulance. Carl Anderson even tells Cena that he warned AJ not to get involved in Bloodline business. So it seems like they're teasing something there between AJ Styles and Carl Anderson, which I would like, as long as Carl Anderson doesn't suffer for it. So the Bloodline kind of promo, they basically brag about the fact that they took out AJ Styles and all that type of stuff, and then Cena runs out. He attacks the Bloodline, but because he's outnumbered, He gets laid out with the Samoan spike, followed by 2 splashes on Jimmy Uso. I didn't love the beatdown too much. I thought it lasted a bit too long, especially because nobody even came out to save Cena after this. And afterwards, they all signed the contract, and the big hook for Fastlane is who John Cena's partner is going to be, because obviously, now he has to have a mystery partner since AJ Styles was taken out. Now, obviously, we found out more from this. Originally, I think LA Knight was supposed to run out to make the save, but he tested positive for COVID, so he wasn't even on SmackDown, so they couldn't even do that bit. So I don't know if LA Knight will be ready to go in time before Fastlane, because Fastlane still, I think it's until October 7th, so we have 2 more SmackDowns before then. So they could do something where, like, LA Knight just ends up being the surprise partner anyways, or they announce it on the Go Home episode of SmackDown type thing. So it'd be interesting to see what happens there. And yeah, overall, I liked everything they did for the most part with Cena, Styles, and the Bloodline. Obviously, I could have done without the big beatdown. I also don't love the fact, which is exactly what Chris Dodd predicted, that it seems like we've gone backwards with Jimmy Uso. Now he's full on back in the Bloodline, it seems like. It's one of those things where the storyline is he thinks he's in, but Solo and Paul and the Tribal Chief don't really want him in type of thing. But yeah, not a fan of that. And yeah, there's a lot of intrigue about who John Cena's mystery partner could be. It could be Jey Uso, obviously, just because obviously of the history and the recent stuff that's happened between the Usos and the breakup and everything like that. It could be, Cody Rhodes, because they still have to do that trade to SmackDown, and that's how Cody Rhodes gets traded to SmackDown. He's seen his partner, and it's revealed that he was traded to SmackDown. Obviously, the big one is The Rock. Everyone wants The Rock to be the mystery partner, especially with what happened on the last episode of SmackDown. And then, LA Knight's obviously another one. So, if I had to say the one I would prefer, it's probably Cody Rhodes. I think it's time to start getting Cody to SmackDown. I think if it is The Rock, it's pretty obvious. It's going to be Roman Reigns versus The Rock. I think that match is going ahead at some point. So it'll be interesting. Continuing with SmackDown, we also had the women's title match that happened on the show. We had, Io Sky versus Asuka. Charlotte Flair came out to watch the match. And overall, this match was great. I really enjoyed it. I thought the crowd wasn't as into it in the middle, which is a shame. I thought they could have been a little bit more into it. They got into it towards the end, but I think this match would have translated a lot better, obviously, if it was done in the black and gold NXT. But eventually, just go watch the match for yourself. I really can't do it justice. Eventually, Damage Control interfered, and Charlotte Flair does the best she can to try to fight them off, and this distract Asuka long enough for Io Sky to lay her out. She hits the moonsault on her, and Io Sky retains the women's title. I'm glad it went to a finish. I was really worried that it wasn't going to happen that way. I would have liked the finish to have been a little bit more clean. I think they need to make Io Sky look a little bit more credible as a champion, because I don't think she's won a match clean yet. But it is what it is. We are going to get a match between Charlotte Flair and Bayley out of this, because Charlotte Flair was involved here. At Fastlane, we'll probably get in Io Sky versus Charlotte Flair for the title, which I think will be an awesome match. There's a lot of history there with the recent stuff with the Money in the Bank, but also the stuff that's happened in NXT. They have faced off before. They faced off in NXT during the pandemic. I actually just remember that happened, but there was no clear winner, so I'm interested to see what will happen there. So overall, I love the women's title match on the show. I thought it was great. I definitely would recommend checking it out. Other things that happened on SmackDown, Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar faced the Street Profits. A little bit better than the dark match that happened a few weeks ago. Eventually, Bobby Lashley interferes, and he lays out Rey with a one-handed spinebuster on the apron, and Angelo Dawkins isn't quick enough to capitalize, so Rey ends up turning it into a roll-up. And afterwards, Lashley's pissed about this, and backstage, he basically tears them a new one, pretty much. I don't love the fact that they're already teasing dissension between Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. I get the Street Profits; they probably didn't want them to win because they wanted to get Ray and Santos some momentum, obviously, because they have a title match coming up on SmackDown next week. So we'll see what happens there. But overall, I like the match, just not the biggest fan of what they did with the outcome and everything like that. So I could have done without that. Then they showed the Rock segment again in Austin Theory's. Austin Theory came out and flipped out about it, and he had to basically be calmed down, and Adam Pearce pretty much tore him a new one. And the Brawling Brutes were looking for a fight, and Grayson Waller came up, and we basically got a tag match out of it. Really good tag match here. I really liked both of these teams. I'm liking Grayson Waller and Austin Theory as a tag team. I hope they keep this going. It'd be better, obviously, if Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn were still the tag champs, because I think this would be the perfect team to take the titles off of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn if they kept the championships. Eventually, Grayson Waller, while Ridge Holland has Austin Theory and the Boston Crab, hits a rolling stunner onto him, which allows Austin Theory to hit the A-Town down on him for the win. And yeah, Austin Theory and Grayson Waller win. But I thought the match was very good, actually. I thought it was very good. I thought those styles really meshed with each other. And then Kaylee Ray, the only other segment really to break down on the show, actually, is... Well, Pretty Deadly did a vignette. It's a really funny vignette where they're doing a hype of their return, pretty much. And it's basically a parody where they think they're coming back from all this stuff. But the doctor's saying, yeah, his shoulder's fine. His shoulder's... It's just a shoulder. He just has a broken shoulder. He'll be fine. And, yeah, it's really funny stuff. You should really check it out. And then Isla Dawn and Kaylee Ray did a vignette where they talked about pretty much how they cursed the women's tag team titles, which... Good on WWE, I guess, for writing a storyline around that. It just sucks that they've had to get to a predicament where they did have to do that, because they've kind of booked the division to a point where they had to have to say that it's cursed now. So, yeah, it is what it is. That was SmackDown. I thought SmackDown was great, honestly. I'm going to give it a B+. I thought it was really enjoyable. I really liked the women's title match. Really not a bad thing that happened on SmackDown. The only thing I really didn't agree with was obviously it's already showing, that there's some dissension going on between Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. I don't really think that was necessary. But everything else I thought was great. We do have some predictions for SmackDown. Yeah, let me see if I have the predictions here. Bobby Lashley is going to be on the Grayson Waller effect. I imagine Grayson Waller is going to talk smack to him, and it's going to lead to Lashley wanting to either beat him up or, and a tag match would get set up between Waller and Theory versus the Street Profits, probably on the following episode of SmackDown. And then we have the United States title match. It's going to be Rey Mysterio versus Santos Escobar. I actually think Rey will retain the title. I don't think he's going to get I think he's going to get a roll-up victory on Santos. And Santos, I think it's going to plant the seed of a heel turn for him. So that'll be that. And then we have Charlotte Flair versus Bayley. I think Charlotte Flair is winning this match. This is going to be to set her up as a future number one contender for the women's title. So there's that. And then, yeah, that's pretty much the end of the weekly show reviews. We have a load of news stuff to cover that I'm going to get right into. Let me just find it real quick. The first thing that came out is that WWE is going to be doing another premium live event in Australia. This is going to be the first one since 2018, when they did Super Showdown the first time, which was awesome. Well, it was awesome that it happened. The show itself was just good. I don't know if the show itself was awesome, but overall it was relatively good stuff. They're going to be doing Elimination Chamber in Australia. I have the article for it here. It's on WWE's website. WWE returns to Australia with Elimination Chamber Perth. I don't know if that's how you say that. Perth, Australia, and Stamford, Connecticut, September 21st, 2023. WWE, a TKO Group Holdings company in partnership with the Western Australian government through Tourism Western Australia, today announced its long-awaited return to Australia for a global televised premium live event, PLE for short. WWE Elimination Chamber. Perth will take place at Optimus Stadium in Perth, Western Australia on Saturday, February 24th, 2024. This will mark WWE's first premium event. This will mark WWE's first event in Australia since 2018 and the only PLE in the Asian Pacific region in 2024. Fans across the globe interested in an exclusive pre-sale opportunity can register now at www.wwe.com/AU 2024 pre-sale. Located in the heart of Perth, the capital of Western Australia, a famed travel destination with a globally renowned record in hosting cultural and supporting events. The multi-purpose world-class Optimus Stadium opened in 2018 and hosted a multitude of sports and entertainment events, including the Australian Football League Grand Finale, State of Origin, Ed Sheeran's tour, Taylor Swift's Reputation tour, Eminem's Rapture tour, U2's Joshua Tree tour, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and the upcoming Australian exclusive Coldplay music of the Spheres tour. Perth is the perfect location for a major WWE premium live event in Australia, following a series of record-breaking WWE events and iconic international destinations, said WWE Senior Vice President Chris Legentail. With a week full of WWE events and experiences, we hope to leave a lasting memory for Western Australia and the entire WWE universe. Hosting WWE in Perth in a wheel coupe for our state. Sorry, let me read that again. Hosting WWE in Perth is a wheel coupe for our state, as it will shine a global spotlight on Western Australia to billions of viewers worldwide, attract thousands of out-of-state visitors to WA, and create an incredible atmosphere in the city for the local community and visitors alike, said the Hun Rita Saforta, MLA, Western Australia's Deputy Premier and Minister for Tourism. The WA government, through Tourism WA, is proud to support is proud to support this exclusive event that will generate millions of dollars for the local economy and highlight WA as a world-class events destination. I encourage everyone to Western Australia for WWE to extend their trip to explore more of our wondrous state as part of this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Commenting on the historic announcement, WWE Women's World Champion and Australian native Rhea Ripley said, "I'm beyond proud to represent Australia every single time I step inside a WWE ring, and to bring a premium live event to Perth is a dream come true. Get ready, Australia, because Miami is coming home." The 2023 WWE Elimination Chamber from the Bell Center in Montreal broke multiple records. Viewership of the event saw a 54% increase versus the prior record set in 2022. It also marked new high points for gate merchandise and sponsorship. WWE Elimination Chamber Perth will be broadcast live in approximately 165 countries in 25 languages and see in more than 1 billion homes. Information regarding demo ticket on sale and further event updates will be available in the coming weeks. Additionally, priority pass ticket packages will soon be available for on-location offerings offering fans the chance to be ringside for every exhilarating moment, including a premium seating, pre-show hospitality with WWE superstar appearances, ringside photo opportunities, and exclusive merchandise and more. Starting today, fans can place a deposit to secure access ahead of the general public. To learn more about priority passes or to place a deposit, please visit www.onlocationxp.com/Elimination Chamber Perth. To learn more about travel package opportunities and place a deposit on a trip to Perth, please visit Sportnet Holidays at www.sportsnetholidays.com/WWE Elimination Chamber Perth. For more information, stick with WWE.com or visit www.westernaustralia.com. WWE and Tourism Western Australia acknowledge the traditional custodians throughout Western Australia and their continuing connection to the land, waters, and culture. We pay our respects to all those Aborigine, I don't know if that's how you say that, peoples, elders past, present, and emerging. So, yeah, really cool that WWE is doing a premium live event in Australia. I'm really happy about it. I'm happy that, we're getting more shows outside of the United States, like in places like Puerto Rico and the UK and things like that. I do hear we have to get up early for it. It's gonna be at like 6 a.m., but that's fine. The UK have had to stay up late / get up early for shows in the United States. It's only fair that we have to do that at some point. But yeah, I'm looking forward to watching this show. I think the only other time that we've had an event in Australia, at least in my lifetime, as a wrestling fan and stuff like that, was obviously, like I said, Super Showdown in 2018. So I think this would be ever more special. So I'm looking forward to it. You're probably going to see WWE Super Showdown 2018 as a retro when this show comes around. Other news. Let me just find my stuff. Yeah, there's other news in in professional wrestling right now. Earlier this week, WWE held some tryouts for people at the Performance Center. I'm getting this article from bodyslam.net. It was reported, and this obviously got updated. The last time it was updated was September 19th, 2023. So it was reported earlier today that fourth-generation independent wrestling scout Brogan Finley, son of David Fit Finley, was one name that would be receiving a WWE tryout this week in Orlando at the Performance Center. At the time, the other names that would be part of this week's WWE tryouts at the Performance Center was not known. However, I reached out to sources within WWE and can now confirm the entire list of athletes and wrestlers who were invited to try out. Copeland Barbie, David Gooley, Jay Malachi, Richard Holiday, Brogan Finley, Jamie Stanley, Ray Jazz, Jasmine Allure, Holly Hurd, Haley J, Kelsey Heather, Valentina Rossi, and Maddie Rakowski. Many of these names you probably recognize as David Goldie, Jay Malachi, Ray Jazz, Kelsey Heather, Jamie Stanley, Brogan Finley, Holly Hurd, Haley J, Valentina Rossi, Maddie Rakowski, and Richard Holiday have all established themselves on the independent wrestling scene, some with more notoriety than others, and it kind of goes through what they've done. Jay Malachi is a young star from the Carolinas. Hold on, it went. Okay, I lost the right place. So yeah, I'll just restart that again. Jay Malachi is a young star from the Carolinas, having competed for companies like Firestyle Pro Wrestling, PWF, Deadlock Pro, GCW, West Coast Pro Wrestling, and others. He has also competed for AEW. Copeland Barbie was a Colgate wrestler at Queen's University of Charlotte. Richard Holiday is a former MLW Tag Team Champion with MJF. as well as IWA Caribbean Heavyweight Champion. Also holds titles in Beyond Wrestling, Big Time Wrestling, ECWA, PAPW, and others. He has recently competed for AML Wrestling, GCW Beyond Wrestling since returning from his battle with cancer after he revealed he had stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma. David Goldie is a product. David Goldie is a product of the Monster Factory and has competed numerous times on AEW Dark. Most recently, he participated in the NJPW All-Stars Junior Festival USA 2023, where he defeated Vinny Pacifico in a dark match. Brogan Finley is the son of David Fit Finley and was trained by A.R. Fox at the WA4 Wrestling School in Atlanta. Brogan has competed all over the Indies, most notably for GCW, AML Wrestling, New South, BLP, H2O Wrestling, Beyond, and more. Jamie Stanley has been working for the NWA over the last few years, most recently working as part of a tag team called America's Ego with his partner Joe Alonzo. Ray Jazz is mostly known for his work with MLW, but he has also recently wrestled for Beyond Wrestling, Open, and others. Jasmine Allure made her name on the Indies, having previously competed for AEW, appearing on AEW Dark, and also appeared on an episode of WWE SmackDown earlier this year, losing to Lacey Evans. Haley J has recently gained fame for her involvement in the Netflix docuseries Wrestlers, which focuses on the independent wrestling promotion OVW, which stands for Ohio Valley Wrestling. Haley J has wrestled for AEW on Dark in a losing effort to Serena Deeb. Kelsey Heather has most recently been competing as part of the WoW roster. She has wrestled for AEW earlier this year on an episode of AEW Dark where she lost to Julia Hart. Valentina Rossi has previously competed for WoW, AEW, WWE, NXT, and CCW. She spent a lot of time competed for AEW as part of AEW Dark from 2021 to 2023. Maddie Rakowski trained at the Hybrid School of Wrestling and might be one of the most recognizable names on the list. She has been recently featured as part of the NWA and has competed for ROH, MCW, Mission Pro Wrestling, and WWN. We will keep you updated on news coming out of this WWE's tryout at the Performance Center in Orlando as it becomes available, which they haven't done so yet. But yeah, I'm happy to see all these wrestlers get assigned. It does look like they are going to kind of go back to a little bit of having wrestlers get signed to WWE now that we're in the Indies, which I think it's good to have that balance. I think some of the talent that they have signed, from the Izzy Dames and the Carmen Petrovics of the world and the Kalani Jordans of the world have been good. But I think you need to have a balance. I think it's good to have someone that's been in the business for a while that can train the people that are coming in now. So I think it's good that they're doing this stuff, and I'm happy to see that some of these people get opportunities like Maddie Rakowski, Jasmine Allure, Valentina Rossi, and Jamie Stanley. I've seen a lot of their work recently. It will be interesting to see, obviously, if they get signed by WWE, but only time will tell. But yeah, I'm excited to see that come to be. Going on to the next news story. So this is kind of interesting. There's a story that came out this week about a meeting Vince McMahon had at WWE HQ where, I'll just read it out real quick. Vince McMahon in a meeting at WWE HQ today, which this came out. I'm getting this from the Dirt Sheet Radio. I'm on their Facebook page, and that's what this is from. This is from 4 days ago, which would be 5 by the time you're seeing this. So this is from 5 days ago. Vince McMahon in a meeting at WWE HQ today said that the company had plateaued right before the Endeavor merger, and to get to the next level of WWE, this was the deal that needed to get done. Obviously, not a lot of people. A lot of people thought this was a weird comment Vince made, as typical, because WWE was doing really well before Vince came back and started doing all this stuff. Obviously they have had record-breaking, PLE numbers when it comes to subscriptions and, views, and obviously the ratings were going up. Everything just looked like it was turning out real well for WWE, and then Vince makes this comment, and it just kind of shows that, just Vince just has a weird way that he sees the world. So a lot of people did not like this comment that Vince made because it kind of diminished all the work that Triple H did right when, Vince had to retire for that short period of time from, August to January. It kind of diminished all the work that he did because the company was doing really well before then. So really weird that happened. And then we found out that WWE filed a trademark to the name Jada Polka. And obviously the reason this is kind of the big news because obviously this is from obviously the Dirt Sheet Radio. This is from 3 days ago on their Facebook page. It looked like that's going to be Jade Cargill's new ring name, which he gets signed to WWE. I really don't know what else to say about that. I would like to obviously be Jade Cargill when he comes to WWE, but if that's not going to be the case, Jada Polka isn't a tailbone name, I guess, but I would like it to be Jade Cargill. Still interested to see what Jade Cargill does when she does obviously come to WWE. There's a lot of fantasy pitches out there that have happened, but we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens. But yeah, so looking, things are looking like on the up for Jade Cargill. She is obviously reported to the Performance Center this week. I think I mentioned this last week, but it looks like she's just going to bypass NXT. She's going to go straight to the main roster. So that's going to be cool for Jade Cargill. So, happy to see what happens with Jade Cargill. So it's going to be good stuff. And we have some news about TV rights when it comes to WWE. Getting this news from NoDQ.com, which was posted on September 21st, 2023. Breaking news, Breaking news, WWE SmackDown moving to the USA Network in 2024. WWE announced the following. Stamford, Connecticut, September 21st, 2023. WWE, part of the TKO Group Holdings Incorporated, NYSC TKO, and NBC Universal have agreed to a 5-year domestic media rights partnership that will bring Friday Night SmackDown back to USA Network beginning October 2024. Additionally, beginning in the 2024-25 season, WWE will produce 4 premium specials per year that will air on NBC, marking the first time WWE will air on the network in prime time. SmackDown will come exclusively to NBCU as one of the TV's longest-running programs, regularly rated at the #1 show in the 18 to 49 advertising demographic on Friday nights, and featuring many WWE superstars including John Cena, Roman Reigns, Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, and Rey Mysterio. NBC Universal has been a tremendous partner of WWE for decades, said WWE President Nick Khan. We are excited to extend this long-standing relationship by bringing SmackDown to USA Network on Friday nights and look forward to debuting multiple WWE special events additionally on NBC. It's a privilege and thrill to continue NBCU's decade-long partnership with WWE, which has helped cement USA Network's consistent position as the top-rated cable network. As the top-rated cable entertainment network in live viewership, said Francis Berwick, chairman, NBC Universal Entertainment, with Friday nights on USA, primetime specials on NBC, and the WWE Hub on Peacock. Will continue to use this power of our portfolio to super serve this passionate fan base. As part of WWE and NBC Universal's long-standing relationship, USA Network is currently home to WWE NXT and WWE Monday Night Raw, which is the number 2 cable entertainment program in 2023 in the 18 to 49 demographic, demonstrating the deeply engaged WWE audience on USA. WWE NXT Plus has gone up 27%, and WWE Monday Night Raw up 15%, up double digits up double digits year over year in the target demographic. WWE Monday Night Raw and WWE NXT will continue to air on USA Network through September 2024. In addition, since 2021, Peacock has been the exclusive home of WWE Network in the U.S., where Peacock subscribers can stream thousands of hours of on-demand programming for WWE's, including original series such as groundbreaking documentaries, fan favorite shows from the WWE archives, and premium live events like WrestleMania, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, and more. WWE continues to drive high engagement on the platform, with this April's WrestleMania 39 live stream delivering a record-breaking weekend for Peacock as its highest weekend usage to date. Yeah, so then a lot of people are wondering what's going to happen with Raw and SmackDown. Well, No DQ would follow up their report on the same day. It's what is being said about the what is being said about the future of WWE Raw and NXT on the USA Network in 2024. So I'll just read that article. As previously reported, WWE SmackDown will be moving to the USA Network in October of 2024. Raw and SmackDown will continue to air on USA Network through September of 2024. In regard to the future of Raw and SmackDown with NBCU, HollywoodReporter.com noted the following. While the new deal will bring WWE to NBC primetime and SmackDown to USA Network on Friday nights, it will also mean the end of Raw and NXT on USA. A source familiar with the Raw discussions tell the Hollywood Reporter that the market for the program is extremely active, with traditional linear networks, streaming services, and unexpected players all interested. However, John Alwood of Sports Business Journal stated that NBCU is considering a front-runner to renew its Raw deal. This is what he said on Twitter, Brandon Thurston. The Hollywood Reporter indicates NXT and The Hollywood Reporter indicates Raw and NXT will leave USA Network with those when those terms expire in September 2024, while the new deal will bring WWE to NBC primetime and SmackDown to USA on Friday night. It will also mean the end of Raw and NXT on USA. It's a familiar source with the WWE. And then, he just kind of resays everything. So, TV is going to change for WWE next year. Obviously it sucks that SmackDown can't stay on Fox, because obviously that's why they're getting such high viewerships, because Fox is available in a lot of homes. I would like it to see it stay on Fox, but that doesn't look like to be the case. But at least SmackDown's going to USA Network. I'm interested to see what those premium live events will be, or premium live network events. I don't know what they're going to call them. On NBC, I wonder if they'll bring back Saturday night's main event, or they'll do other things with it. That's gonna be good stuff. It might be stuff like Battle of the Belts is for AEW, so I'm interested to see what happens there. Interested in Raw and NXT are gonna end up moving, considering the fact that they've been on USA Network. I think Raw's been on USA Network since, I don't even know how long. I think since it left Spike in 2005. Like, it's been on USA Network a while. Probably over 10 years at this point. So it's just kind of interesting that USA Network would get rid of Raw. NXT has obviously been on USA Network since 2019, when they went head-to-head against AEW Dynamite. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I kind of hope NXT goes back to just Peacock, just because I think some of the talent's being set up for failure. I don't think it will, obviously, just because they're doing really well in the ratings right now. And they actually are starting to do a little bit better, obviously, now that we have the main roster guys going down there. So, it is what it is. But yeah, interesting to see what happens. But there's some other news when it comes to TV things for WWE. There's a reason I said this might be my last main event review, because there's a report that Dirt Sheet Radio made. This is from 4 days ago when you're seeing this. WWE on Hulu is coming to an end. WWE content on Hulu now has an expiration tag for shows, noting that the episodes will be removed on September 25th or 26th. When asked about the expiration tag on social media, Hulu supported replied, "Hulu here on streaming rights to WWE content are currently set to expire, but we'll certainly share your interest in seeing them stay in our library with our team. For now, we should just add in shows in your My Stuff to be notified of any updates." So I don't know what this means, if WWE's leaving Hulu, because I did see this, which is why I tried to watch Main Event as fast as I could. But if WWE does leave Hulu, I'll have to find other things to watch on Hulu, obviously, because it's the main reason I have Hulu, is so I can watch Main Event. And obviously Level Up if I miss it. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Main Event would suffer, obviously, just because that's the only way you can really watch Main Event, unless you wait 30 days and it goes on Peacock later on. Level Up would suffer just because you would have to basically watch Level Up right after SmackDown, and I don't think a lot of people can really do that, because some people probably want to watch Rampage or other things, or just go to bed because it's Friday nights, or people are out Friday nights. So I think Level Up would suffer. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. As when it comes down to it, I will obviously give you more updates when it comes to that, because obviously Main Event wouldn't get covered, obviously, just because I don't know how else I'd watch Main Event, because I don't know how else to watch Main Event unless I have Hulu, so we have to wait and see what happens. But yeah, just definitely get back to me. I'll definitely get back to you when things happen there. But yeah, interesting stuff when it comes to Main Event. And then, yeah, I think we're at the sad part of the news now. Yeah, we are. So, this is like the meaty part of the news. Why we're going to be here so long. So, obviously, this was reported for a while, but WWE has made several cuts over the past week, which is the thumbnail of this video. They released a ton of people because of this merger that happened. They released a lot of people, that had desk jobs and stuff. I think, a lot of people reported that there were a lot of empty desks last week and all that type of stuff. So we were hoping that was basically going to be it. They weren't going to release any superstars, but we were mistaken. Several superstars were released. I'm getting this article from... what's it called? It's GameSpot.com. It's not updated. There was one wrestler that was released, and I'll get to him when I got there. But I think it's in order of how it was announced, so I'll kind of go through all of this. The biggest one at the moment is Mustafa Ali. Mustafa Ali was released. He was a shock, obviously, just because he was set to have a match with Dominic Mysterio for the NXT North American Championship at No Mercy. He was in a big storyline, pretty much. And now they just released him, which I wonder how long it was in the back burner that he was going to get released, because, that's what makes the North American title match between Dragon Lee and Dominic Mysterio really weird. Like, were they just going to release him then? But we have to wait. Obviously, it ended up happening. Mustafa Ali started with WWE in 2016. He was a part of the Cruiserweight division. He was pretty much the heart and soul of that division once Triple H started booking it. And then he moved over to SmackDown. And basically, once he got to the main roster, it always looked like he was going to get like a big push, but something kept getting in the way. Originally, he was going to compete for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania this year. Or not this year, at WrestleMania 35. And obviously, because he got his injury, Kofi Mania happened out of it. So, he got put on the back burner. and he would always get a little bit of a push, but then nothing would come of it, and then he was the leader of Retribution, and the less said about that, the better. And then he had requested that he was going to want his release, and he was off TV since, I think he left in like 2021, and he came back in June of 2022, I think is how it went. And he didn't do much as a babyface. When Triple H took over, it looked like things were going to turn around. He started turning heel, where he basically had a positive attitude all the time. And then he had a match with Walter for the Intercontinental title at Night of Champions, and then he turned back babyface, and then he showed back up on NXT, and it looked like he was going to have the political gimmick again that he pitched all that time ago, but then Fox didn't like that gimmick, so they nixed it. And yeah, he was going to challenge Dominic Mysterio for the NXT North American title, and now that's not going to happen. So he's released now. It'll be interesting to see what he does. I obviously would like to see him show up in Impact. I think he could be great for the X Division. I don't know what else he could go. He could go to AEW, but I just think he'd be lost in the shuffle. I think Impact's the best place for him to go. I think he gets showcased the best there, so I kind of hope that's where he ends up. So we'll see what happens. But this leads me to my predictions now for Dragon Lee versus Dominic Mysterio, because now that Mustafa Ali's gone, I'm going to go out on a limb now and say that Dragon Lee becomes the new NXT North American champion. I think they're going to do a title change because they need to create some buzz for the NXT North American title match. And I don't think I'll have a long title reign. I think Dom will win the title back at No Mercy, but I think just to kind of create some buzz and get people watching NXT and stuff, I think Dragon Lee will beat Dominic Mysterio for the North American title. But yeah, sucks to see Mustafa Ali go. I thought he was a great talent. I think they could have done a lot more with him. Another one's Rick Boogs. Rick Boogs has been in WWE for a while. I think the first time we ever saw him was in 2019. He was Eric Bugenhagen. He had a very entertaining entrance, and eventually we would see him a little bit, and then he got called up to the main roster, and he paired up with Shinsuke Nakamura. He was pretty much his hype man. And then they challenged for the tag team titles at WrestleMania, the SmackDown tag team titles, at WrestleMania 38, where he tore his quad, unfortunately, which was just really sad. And he came back earlier this year and looked like he was going to team up with Elias, and nothing came of it, really. And then, yeah, he was just released. So it'd be interesting to see what he does. I would like to see him in Impact also, just because I think Impact could really dive into that gimmick. I think he could do some entertaining stuff with Joe Hendry and stuff like that. I don't think his gimmick fits AEW, just because it's not that type of gimmick. I don't really think he'll translate all that well in AEW. And then obviously he could end up in NWA and do some stuff there, but I don't really want to see him end up there. But yeah, we'll see what happens with Rick Boogs. It's sad that he got released. And then we have Aaliyah. Aaliyah's been with WWE for a long time. She started in 2015. She was one of the main focuses of Proven Ground. She was in NXT for a long time. They never really did much with her, obviously, because she was still improving and everything like that. She teamed up with Vanessa Bourne, I believe, and then Vanessa Bourne got injured, so she kind of was on her own for a little bit. She became a part of the Robert Stone brand, and then when that ended, she got called up to the main roster. I think she was part of the draft, I think. And then she did well, I guess. She's a part of the shortest match in WWE history, where she beat Natalya. And then when the women's tag team titles came back in that tournament, her and Raquel Rodriguez won the belts, and then she got injured, and then she just never returned. I think she would continuously make posts on X, / Twitter, when it was Twitter, and say that she may be on SmackDown, teasing her return, but then nothing really came of it. So, yeah. I don't know what Aaliyah's going to do. She could just very well end up becoming like a model or do some fitness stuff, just because I don't really know how much she's going to want to stay in wrestling. But, yeah, it would be interesting to see what Aaliyah does now that she's released. Then we have Elias. Elias obviously started with WWE in 2014. He started the Elias Sampson gimmick in 2015. It wasn't as over in NXT, but then he got called up to the main roster, and Vince really took off with it in WWE. He's done a lot of big things. He's pretty much had a face-off with everyone you could think of in the business. And he won the 24/7 title a few times. Eventually, he transitioned out of the Elias gimmick. He even got an album out of it, too, and he had big WrestleMania moments. And then he transitioned to a gimmick where he was Ezekiel, where it was teased like he was going to be Elias's brother type of thing. And they started doing that for a little bit. And then once Triple H took over, he transitioned back into the Elias gimmick. And because Triple H never really showcased him in NXT, he really didn't do much in NXT. He essentially just kind of got squashed and everything like that. He eventually just stopped showing up, and now he's released. I don't know if he'll just be a musician now, and he'll just break into that market, or if he'll just do some indie shows here and there. I could see him showing up in NWA on occasions. Impact would be a nice shout. I think Impact could do a lot with him. He could actually do some good things in AEW. I just don't know how well his gimmick will work in AEW, but it'll be interesting. And then we have Riddick Moss. Riddick Moss has been in WWE a while, 9 years. It says he started in 2014. He was originally teaming up with Tito Sabatelli, but then Tito Sabatelli got hurt, and I think he got hurt at the same time. And then when he came back, he was the 24/7 champion, and that was admittedly crap. And then he was a part of Raw Underground. He got injured. He teamed up with Baron Corbin, where he became Madcap Moss, where he was basically the jokester. And then he broke away from that. And then he became a serious wrestler again. And after basically his feud with Baron Corbin, they really didn't do much with him. He did have a really good Intercontinental title match earlier this year with Walter. And then it looked like he was going to go heel, but not much came of it. And yeah, now he's just out of the company. I think he's going to struggle to get work. I just don't know what he can really go. The only place I could see him going is the NWA. But that's really it. I don't really know what's going to really come. I think he's just going to do a lot of indie shows, and that's basically going to be it. I think he is going to struggle in WWE. Then we have Top Dollar. Top Dollar got released. Obviously, Hit Row came back last year, and it really hasn't been a very successful run for them. They've not really been very good. They turned heel shortly after their run, and then pretty much nothing's really come of it since then. They're just pretty much enhancement teams and everything like that. Just interesting. They kept Tony Miles and B-Fab. I'm interested to see what happens with them. I don't know what's going to happen with Top Dollar. I don't really see him wrestling anymore. I just don't know how he's going to do well by himself. They had a lot in him. I remember he was a part of the Hidden Figures show, it's called, where they go and find all the merchandise and stuff. He was a big part of that, but he wasn't really on that anymore. So, interesting to see what happens with Top Dollar. Then we have Shelton Benjamin. This is a sad one. Kind of a shocking one, obviously, because he just celebrated his 20-year anniversary this year. He didn't do a lot in the second one in WWE that I would have liked him to. He teamed up with Chad Gable when they never won the titles, and then Gable moved to Raw. He stayed on SmackDown and just really didn't do much. And then I think he got injured, actually, shortly after Chad Gable won, because I don't remember him doing all that much. And then he switched over to Raw. He was a part of the Hurt Business, which was great. He won the Raw Tag Team titles with Cedric Alexander. They teamed up for a while. It looked like they were going to bring back the Hurt Business, but then they just never did. And then, he just pretty much wrestled on main event a lot and stuff. I think his last match was his match last week with the Viking Raiders. So I don't know what will come of Shelton Benjamin. He is up there in age now, type of thing, and he has been wrestling a while. I don't know if he's going to still wrestle. I feel like he's not going to wrestle full time. He could go to Impact. I think he could do it in Impact. I think he could do well in AEW. I think he could do well there. He could do well in New Japan. being a part of New Japan Strong and wrestling for that title and stuff like that. So interested to see what comes to Shelton Benjamin. I think he's going to do really well. I could see him maybe even being an agent backstage at AEW. So yeah, interesting what comes of Shelton Benjamin. Then we have Emma. She was released. She was returned. It was not long into where it would have been a year since she's been back. Obviously, she returned and accepted Ronda Rousey's open challenge for the SmackDown Women's title. And she really didn't do all that much. I think she just wrestled dark matches and mainly wrestled on main events. And then eventually she just kind of turned heel and really didn't do much. I could see her ending up in AEW, obviously as Tenille Dashwood, since she's really close friends with Dr. Britt Baker DMD and Madison Rain. I could see her ending up in AEW, where she could end up being back in Impact and being part of the Knockouts division there. I could see wherever she goes, Riddick Moss will end up type of thing, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. It is a bit of a shock, too, just because obviously WWE announced their show, Elimination Chamber, happened in Australia, and since Emma's an Australian, you would have thought she would have, they would have kept her around, but that's just not to be the case, so yeah, really sad. And then this one was the biggest shocker. It was Dolph Ziggler. Obviously, he's been a part of WWE for years under various gimmicks like the Ryan Nemeth, where he was, he was the caddy for Chavo Guerrero when he was doing that gimmick as Cohen White. Then he was a part of Spirit Squad, and then he became Dolph Ziggler. And yeah, it always looked like he was going to get a push, but it never happened. He did win the world title a few times, but the reign wasn't very successful. Just a company guy, and he truly wasn't going to go anywhere. He was never going to leave, and I don't think, and it's really shocked that he was released. He wasn't really showing up much more anyways. He was mainly just doing his comedy tours and all that type of stuff. I think he would just show up on a part-time appearance. The last time he showed up, I think, was roughly before WrestleMania. So the last title reign he had was when he won the NXT title, ironically enough. So, yeah, interested to see what Dolph Ziggler does now that he's out of the company. I think he's definitely going to AEW. I think he's going to team up with his brother, Ryan Nemeth, since, they're brothers and stuff in real life. That would give both of them something to do, and they could be great tag team champions. I would love to see him get a run with TNT or international titles, so I think him in AEW would be great. I think, he could do a lot of great stuff there. Then we have Dabba-Kato. Dabba-Kato's been around a while. Now, I will say, I'm not a fan of some of these people, obviously, anyways, on the list, but I don't love people losing their job. Should have made that very well clear, so I do want to make sure I make that known. But yeah, Dabba-Kato had been around a while. He was a big part of Raw Underground. He was, and then he got knocked out by Braun Strowman. And then he was the big heavy for Apollo Crews when he turned heel, and then that ended. And then he went back to NXT, feuded with Crews, and he had a pretty shitty run in NXT. Really didn't do all that much. It really wasn't very good. Interesting to see what they do with him. I'm not really sure what happens, if he's going to just still wrestle or if he'll just do other things. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what comes of him. Dana Brooke. She's been with WWE a long time. 10 years. It says she started in 2013. She was in NXT, was a decent heel with her pairing with Emma. And then she got called up to the main roster. And she was partnered up with Charlotte Flair. Then she turned babyface. She was a part of Titus Worldwide. Then that ended. She was a big part of main event. I think she teamed up with Alexa Bliss. Or not Alexa Bliss. Carmella. During the pandemic. And then she was a big part of the 24/7 title scene. And then she went back down to NXT, which was largely shat on. I don't know what's going to happen with Dana Brooke. If she'll end up in Impact. If she's just going to be done wrestling. Maybe just be a fitness model now and everything like that. But yeah, I'm interested to see what happens with Dana Brooke. Her name was a bit of a shock to me, so yeah. Then we have Maximum Male Models. Both members were released. Mansoor / Mansoor and Marseille May / Theo Madden. Mansoor obviously was the big signings that came in when WWE had the partnership with Saudi Arabia. He was the only one that really worked out long term. He was a big part of the cruiserweight division. He was a big selling point for people in Saudi Arabia. He would always get like a big match or something there. He eventually did join Maximum Male Models and had a really entertaining role there. And then obviously once Maxine Dupree broke away from Maximum Male Models, we stopped seeing them. Dio Madden was a commentator. He was training to be a wrestler, and then he was gone. He was in Retribution as Mace. The less said about that, the better. He went on a tag team quest with T-Bar / Dijak, and then they both got separated during the draft. And then he did Maximum Male Models, and then basically he just stuck with Mansoor / Mansoor. So Mansoor, I would like to see sign with Impact. I think he could be great for the X Division. He's really good in that role. Dio Madden, I'm not sure what would happen with him. Maybe he'll just go back to commentating in sports or something, because I think he was a football player before he went to WWE. So maybe he'll just do that. He could do some things in NWA, AEW, and things like that. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with, Maximum Male Models. I think there was all these plans they were gonna do. They were gonna, they were gonna, they wanted to do a storyline where Mansoor broke his face in a match with Cody Rhodes, had taken the Crossroads, and he was going to feud with Cody Rhodes. Like, they pitched all this stuff, but it just never came to be. So yeah, it's sad when that happens. And then we have Quincy Elliott. This was the big project they tried putting in. He was meant to be NXT's answer to Sonny Kiss. Just basically, he was Sonny Kiss, and he was developing. He went back to Level Up, but he never really got off the ground. His gimmick just never got over. I don't know what will come of Quincy Elliott, where he's going to end up, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But that's another release. Then we have Shanky. This one's kind of a sad one. Shanky was a big Indian sign-in. He was a big part of this first Superstar Spectacle show, and then he was teaming up with Veer Mahan with Jinder Mahal. And then Veer and Jinder went to SmackDown. He was the dancing Shanky. And then once Triple H took over, pretty much, he just disappeared forever. And then he recently just showed back up when WWE went back to India during the Superstar Spectacle. And he challenged Walter for the Intercontinental Championship. So, interesting. I don't know where Shanky will end up, if he'll just go to the NWA. I don't think he'll go to Impact or anything like that, but we'll see what happens with Shanky, but yeah, that's basically his thing. Then we have Yulisa Leon. She was teaming up with Valentina for Royce. And then she got released. I heard she asked for her release, and then it wasn't granted originally, but then they just granted it. I don't know what will come of Yulisa Leon. I really haven't seen much of her work, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. Then we have Kevin Vetra Cortez. He was a big signer, but he was part of some of the PC signings and things like that. I think he showed up on Level Up a few times and everything like that. It's tough to say where he will end up, because he's still not very well known. He might just end up do work in the Indies and maybe make a name for himself, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. Ike Manjiro. This was a bit of a shock, since especially he was just showcased recently. He was teaming up with Kushida for a bit, and then obviously that ended when Kushida left. So I don't know what will come of him. I could see him just going to DDT Pro Wrestling and doing some stuff in Japan. He could be entertained at Impact, doing the stuff with, Joe Henry and Yuri Uemura. That they could be a great trio. But other than that, I don't know what else we could really do with him. Then we have Brooklyn Burlow. She was a signing in 2022. We saw her a few times. I think she got injured in her run. I don't know what will come of her. If she'll just stay in the wrestling business or if she'll go into fitness or whatever, but only time will tell. Then we have the last one on this list is Bryson Montana. He recently got signed. He's shown up on Level Up a few times. I don't know what will come of Bryson Montana. I think he was teaming up with somebody before them, which is kind of sucks because I think I remember liking that tag team. He could make a name for himself on the indies and, do really well for himself and then eventually get signed again. But only time will tell on that one. And the other name that's not on this list is Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle was released. I'm not surprised about this. I talked about it last week, obviously, with his behavior that's happened and just how he's acting and everything like that. It wasn't worth the investment to keep Matt Riddle, so it really didn't surprise me all that much that they nixed Matt Riddle. I don't know what's going to come of Matt Riddle. I think Matt Riddle just needs to get his life together a little bit. He needs to go back to rehab and start just getting his life together, but who knows if that will happen. Because with his recent behavior, I don't think any company's really going to take him. But we'll see. The only other company I could see him ending up in is AEW, obviously. But I want to see Matt Riddle get his life together first. But we'll see if that happens. And yeah, those are sad releases. It obviously sucks to hear when these massive releases happen. Especially, when they probably could have found a way to keep these people. I'm hoping we don't have any more. We did have one last week. I think, not Dana Brooke. What's her name? Dana Warrior was released. She was a big part of WWE when it came to charities and things like that. And so obviously when they did the Warrior Award every year, she would come out and present the award. I don't know. She still may do that because obviously it's to her husband. I think it should still be changed to the Shaq Gaspard award, but that's just my opinion. But yeah, we'll see what happens with, Dana Warrior. But yeah, sad releases. We'll see where these names end up. I hope we don't have any more releases. And very nice messages were said toward these people, especially towards Dolph Ziggler and Shelton Benjamin, since they, had won 10 years in the company. Especially Dolph Ziggler, because I don't think they said as much to Shelton Benjamin since, he left and came back. So it will be interesting to see if all these names end up somewhere. There's a no-compete clause at the moment for the NXT talents. It's 30 days, and for the main roster talent, it's 90 days, so we're not going to most likely see any of these people until December. The biggest NXT talent that could probably go somewhere is probably Ike Manjiro. I don't think there's anybody else that's all that big that was in NXT. I did read online the reason they cut these people is because the TKO merger didn't really feel like it was worth the investment to keep these people, especially since some of them weren't even being used and they were being paid. Some of them were working main roster contracts in NXT and all that type of stuff. So we'll see. Mustafa Ali, when it comes to his non-compete clause, I think since he had a main roster contract, technically he's going to end up, the 90-day non-compete clause, but only time will tell on that one. But yeah, so interesting to see what happens with all these people. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. That's the end of this video. Thank you guys for watching it. One other news that I'll break down is, because it happened while I was recording this. I think it happened while I was recording the show. Kelly, Bobby Blank, if you don't know her as that name, was pregnant this year. And I think like a week ago, she gave birth to her twins. I think they were born like Saturday or Sunday of last week. So that's good news. This probably means a return to the ring because she has mentioned that she wants her children to see her wrestle. I don't want to see that happen, especially to, she just gave birth and things like that, and she hasn't wrestled a match a singles match since I think 2012, and by the time she would get back into the ring, where her children will be able to remember, it would probably be like 2026 maybe 2024. Well, probably not 2024. I think it's gonna be when they're like 3, obviously, so that way they'll be able to kind of enjoy it, type of thing. Because it might be 2, because obviously Brody has a lot of memories of Bryan Danielson, / Daniel Bryan, when he started wrestling, but also Bryan was wrestling full time, so she kind of knows it as that. So yeah, it'll be interesting. But we'll see. I did want to end the news off with somewhat positive stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. I know it was a long one because we had a lot of news to break down, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Big week this week for content. I can't exactly name it, but you're going to see some retros this week. We're going to do No Mercy 2002 and NXT Roadblock 2022. So those shows are essentially 20 years apart from each other. And then we're going to do AEW Spoke this week, covering Grand Slam week. That's probably going to be recorded tomorrow. Well, it's actually being probably recorded as you see in this video. And then uploaded tomorrow, Tuesday. And then, yeah, so Spoke we have. What else do we have? Red versus Blue might get uploaded this week because we have to do it for Owen and AG Talks on the Own the Talking Day channel. We'll cover you one. We may have a surprise guest on that, but it depends. And then, yeah, you'll see another WWE Aftershock covering the Go Home week of NXT No Mercy, and then you're gonna see an AEW Spoke covering the Go Home week of Wrestle Dream. So yeah, you're gonna see a lot of stuff, and then next week you're gonna see an WWE Aftershock Extra covering No Mercy, AEW Spoke Extra, I don't know what they call it, covering Wrestle Dream, and then obviously the weekly stuff. So a lot of stuff covered next week. I know uploads have been kind of slow recently, but I've just been busy lately and haven't been able to get to this stuff, but I'm going to work on that now. And then obviously I forgot the biggest thing to plug, the Wrestling Rundown. That's probably going to be uploaded. We're recording that Wednesday, but it'll probably be uploaded Thursday. We're going to cover, Zero's hosted it, and it's just going to be a crazy episode. So be sure to tune into that. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. And since this is being recorded in the past, I will talk to you in the future.
Podcast has concluded. Be sure to check out more group discussion as far as WWE content is concerned, and check out more content from For the Win Productions.